Good morning, my dear students. In social science, we were reading about the chapter number 5, Early Empires, and we have done so many topics. We have completed Janpadas and Mahajanpada, types of government, monarchies, republics, and all. And now we will read about the agriculture. So, in early times, agriculture was the main occupation of the people, and it was the income from agriculture that formed the foundation of monarchical and republican states. So agriculture was the main occupation, and whatever the income was coming from agriculture was the foundation for monarchical and republican states, because most of the farmers were forced to give some taxes in the form of money or grains or anything. So they have to give tax on their crops and all. During this time there was an increase in agricultural production because two new technologies, manufacturing of iron tools and paddy transplantation. So at that time, two new technologies, the people became familiar with two new technologies that were manufacturing of iron tools. So that at that time iron tools were manufactured, and with the help of iron tools it was easy to do farming because the soil was easy to turn. There were plows and all the things the tools which were used for agriculture were made of now irons. Earlier they were made of stones, and when they were digging anything, mostly the stones broke down or anything, but now the tools were of iron. And paddy transplantation means like this. We can see that first the baby plants were grown on a small area and then they were planted to the fields. So paddy transplantation was there. In this type of transplantation, the growth was increased. So these two new technologies were there, manufacturing of iron tools and paddy transplantation, and because of these two technologies the yield of grains and the produce increased. Next topic is use of iron. Iron now began to be used extensively means in all the fields. Mostly the iron tools were used. The growing use of iron plowshares and other agricultural implements meant that the heavy clayey soil or the gangetic plains could be turned over easily. So there the soil can be turned easily, and the seeds could be sown properly, and there was good production of grains, leading to an increase in agricultural production, and it led to an increase in agricultural production. Now what is paddy transplantation? I have told you here also what is paddy transplantation. Maybe you have seen those who are living in villages, or if you have gone some time in villages, you can see this type of scene is there. So that time also it was there, but that time it was new. Now people have new technologies, advanced technologies, but at that time it was the new technology. So paddy transplantation, people also learned the technique of paddy transplantation. In this type of plantation, saplings means baby plants, saplings were grown and then planted in prepared fields. As you can see that they are planting the small plants here. See, here is water. From here to here they have planted all the saplings in the prepared fields, and the field should have standing water. As you can see, the fields are having standing water. Maybe you have seen this type of scene many times in movies also. So prepared fields rather than seeds being scattered on the ground. This back-breaking work required the employment of more dasas, कर्मकाराज, दैट मीन्स लेबरर्स। तो इस काम में ज़्यादा लोगों की ज़रूरत पड़ती थी, मोर दासास स्लेव्स एंड कर्मकाराज laborers, but it led to an increase in agricultural production. So many people were required in this type of plantation, but there was increase in agricultural production. Now come on this page, that is page number 45. Taxation. What is taxation? So for the maintenance of anything we need money. So that time also the kings also needed some money. The kings needed resources to meet the expenses of their kingdoms. तो अपने kingdom का खर्चा निकालने के लिए, अपने roads बनाने के लिए, whatever the people require, the kings needed some money. तो ये money कहाँ से आती थी? Since most people were farmers, taxes on crops were collected, and now money was collected from the farmers in the form of taxes. The king's share or the tax was fixed at 1/6. So the king's share was fixed. So whatever the crop yield or production was there, they had to give 1/6 of the produce, and this was known as shat bhaga. उसको कहा जाता था shat bhaga, and was collected in kind and later on in cash. So it was collected in form of any kind, like either they were giving grains or other things, and later they started to give in cash. Cash means in the form of money, that was in the form of punch marked coins. There was another tax called bali, but there were another type of tax was there that was known as bali, but in ancient Indian texts are not very clear about it. So there was another type of tax, bali was there, but in ancient Indian text it is not very clear about it. Sometimes tax could be collected in the form of labor and was called vishti. So sometimes another type of tax was there in the form of labor, जिसमें फ्री लोगों से फ्री काम करवाया जाता था, in the form of labor, and it was known as vishti. This was like offering free services to the king. जैसे कि हमने उनको फ्री सर्विस देने का टैक्स देना हो, कोई भी काम किंग देते थे उनको वो फ्री में करके दिया करते थे सारे लोग, वहाँ के जो दासाज वगैरह होते थे. सो इट वॉज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ विष्टी. एंड अनदर टैक्स वॉज देयर बाली, बट इट इज़ नॉट वेरी क्लियर, वी आर नॉट वेरी क्लियर अबाउट इट, बट 1/6 of the produce, it is clear, shat bhaga was collected by the king in the form of taxes. So it was all about tax.